Loud. Okay, so I would be curious to know if any of you read what I wrote for the email for today, or you just got on. And just curiosity, there's no good, bad, right, or wrong. It doesn't matter if you did or didn't. Just love that you're on. Let's see. All right, so I'm going to grab that really quickly because I want to, let's see. FFCC. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm going to share it with you. Share my screen, and we got more people jumping on. Let's see. So this is the email. This is what it looks like, the email that goes out. Let's see. But basically, I said this was the questions. And I tend to do this a lot for my team, for myself, for the people I know, care about, and trust, anybody that I'm doing my best to inspire to have a better year. And I'm always doing my best to inspire me to have a better year. So I think you guys get what I'm talking about. You know, we get up, we get showered, we get dressed, we go out to work, we have a breakfast, whatever your normal means are. And a lot of us still have residual habits from the pandemic, where you know, people didn't shower for days in a row because, you know, I'm not going to see anybody. I don't, you know, people can't smell me on Zoom, whatever your reason was. And there's a lot of that to be reckoned with right now. So this is what I said. What have you noticed about yourself, your habits, your activities, and your behaviors over the first 21 days of the year? Seriously, have you stopped to ask yourself that? Have you actually paid attention to what you are or aren't doing differently? Look, I'll be 100% honest with you. Let me finish it. What habits are not getting you what you want? Let me repeat that. What habits that are not getting you what you want have creeped back into your day? Remember, I told you before, we don't want to say that habits are good or bad or right or wrong. We just want to say they're either working towards getting me what I want, or they're not working towards getting me what I want. So watch that. Like, have they creeped back in? And that's what happens. You start out with this note. It's called willpower. And that's why there's an amazing book that I love to recommend called Willpower Doesn't Work by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. If one of you want to put that in the chat, Willpower Doesn't Work by Dr. Benjamin Hardy, put it in the chat for everybody if you're one of those people who caught that. But look what I go. Then I said, what habits that will help you get what you want are now showing up regularly? Okay. I've noticed that I'm still kind of on automatic because you know, in the years past, I've really dialed down my schedule, right? But I'm going to tell you, I don't know how many of you like this. I love sleep. Okay. And yet I resist sleep because it takes me back into the habits. What is sleep? Sleep for health is one thing, but sleep for avoidance is another thing. You ever wake up in the morning and go, I just want to pull the covers over my head and make the world go away? Well, how effective is that, right? So, and then I love the last question. What demons are you allowing to continue to thrash your dreams? Nobody is going to answer these questions for you. Nobody is going to take light of them or pay attention to them as how they relate to what's going on in your life more than you are. And what will we do? You and I, we will just fluff them off like, oh, yeah, I do that all the time. Don't worry about it. I'll stop doing it. When? So I'm going to stop sharing the screen because that's the email that I was talking about. This will be in the recording. So thank you, Carla, for putting that in, and Lucky. And I would highly recommend that you get that book. But let me ask you this. You're paying attention, okay? You are paying attention sometimes to what's working, and sometimes we pay more attention to what's not working, but we don't stop to say, why isn't it working? After 21 days, you know, they actually say, truthfully, that a habit, to change a habit and make it regular, that you need to be doing, what's the term I want to use? 66 days. Okay, that 66 days for a habit to become for an activity to become a habit. Now, whatever they say, whoever they are say, doesn't work unless you make that work. Okay, I've got to find some time to do this, doesn't work either. I've got to make the time. I've got to prioritize it, because you're not going to find time. Time runs from you. You are like the enemy of time. So you have to make it. You have to make it such. Do you have to sleep less, right? I noticed that in my 30s and 40s, I think on average, I slept 6 hours a night, right? And I think now I'm at 7.5 average, which is great. I mean, often when my alarm goes up, my eyes are already open. And I feel good about that, because then I don't feel like I have to lay in bed, other than a means of avoidance. So I was texting with a friend of mine from Keller Williams in Wisconsin yesterday. And I used to coach this girl early in the morning. I would coach her 2 days a week at 4:30 in the morning, my time, while I was driving to basketball, which was 6:30 in the morning, her time. And she had this thing of avoidance. All right. Now I'm going to get real. There's no way you're ever going to know who I'm talking about. There's several thousand agents in the state of Wisconsin. And she was not happily married. And I would continuously remind her that, when was this? I'm trying to think what years these were. I think these were like probably 2005 to 2010, maybe, in that period of time, not all 5 years. But she would work late, she'd leave the house early, or on the day she'd leave the house early, she'd stay at her husband would leave the house early, she'd stay at home for a few hours. If he was staying home, she'd leave early. And these were not me asking her, wait, is your husband staying home and you're leaving early? I would just say, what's your schedule like? And, repeat your schedule to me. Okay. And when does your husband leave for work? And, like when I was talking to her about date nights and things like that on her. And so I hadn't talked to her in years, and she told me, oh, my husband quit his job. He got his license. He's working on our team. Everything's going amazingly well. And so I reached out to her the other day just because I needed a referral in another part of Wisconsin. And I said, what's been up with you? And she said, oh, I took the productivity coaching position at the Keller Williams office. And now this lady runs a team. Her son and her have a team. When I first started coaching her, it was just her. Then she hired her son as a buyer's agent. They grew and grew. They became partners. Now they have other buyer's agents. Like, they're a big, active, busy team in Wisconsin. And then she goes, I took the productivity coaching, plus I've got this and this and this and this. And I just texted her. I said, productivity coaching, question mark, question mark, question mark. That's what I put in there. I go, what are you still avoiding? And she hasn't answered me since I asked that. Now, this is what I'm asking you. Are your habits moving you in the direction of where you want to go? What we say out of our mouth is usually not what we're committed to up here or in our hearts. I got to tell you, the only reason I talk about this stuff is, guess what I'm struggling with? 21 days in. Which habits are going to get me what I want? So I'm going to go backwards a minute. How many of you have heard me talk about picking my word for the year? I pick a word every year. Okay, Lorena, I knew you'd remember. Julie, you remember me talking about it. Anybody else here that's not on camera want to put up either a thumbs up or put some? Janelle said yes, she remembers me talking about it. Jenny Stoops, of course, yes, I've talked to you about that personally too. And Teresa Zoki. Okay, so what's your word? You don't need to tell it to me. I'd like to know it if you do, if you want to tell me what your contextual word is for the year. Now, keep in mind, the reason I pick a word Doesn't mean it's the reason you pick a word, but I pick a word so that if I'm going to make a decision about anything in my relationship, in my physical well-being, in my spiritual world, in my relation, everything you can think of in your life, then I will first remember my word, elevate, and I say, will this decision support the context of elevating my life in this area? So my word this year is elevate. I actually heard from somebody yesterday who said their word was elevate. I was pretty impressed by that, not only because it was a, yeah. So Dewey said consistency, good. So Dewey, every decision you make, every habit you have, every activity you do, can you say it's supporting my contextual word for this year, which is consistency? Okay, so when I look at different things, oh, and by the way, I just have to mention out loud, maybe a lot of you don't know her, but Regina Z is on. I haven't seen her on in a while. She's one of my faves. So when I look at my, just over the past 21 days, are the activities and decisions I've made, are they being supported by the word elevate, or are they completely, they have nothing to do with each other? And that's where there's issues, like if you guys are seeing a blank wall, but if you could see right here, it's like a tornado blew up. Like there's paperwork everywhere. And that's because I like to go through things and then throw them away, right? And then when I'm going through all the leftover paperwork I have, then I'm on my iPad taking notes so that paper is no longer necessary. Then I don't know if any of you are iPhone or Apple people, but what I love is that when I do notes, I can actually look them up on my phone, on my Mac, and I can look them up on my iPad. So everywhere I go, no matter where I go, those notes are there. I can share them with people. You could do more than share, which I didn't know, where you can invite people into the notes and they can make notes on it too, and all kinds of great things. That's really, and I know that a good friend of mine had taught me about Google Notes too, that does a similar thing where you can invite people to it. But I'm mostly an Apple guy and it's been working. So see, Sylvia, you look more like that you're an angel because it's a big blur in the background than I do, because mine's a white wall, but yours is a big blur. It's like you're floating towards heaven. So
I have a big mess. I'm just blurring it out. You just
Okay.
whited it out. It's the same thing, Rick.
yeah, no, I did. That's an actual wall. The mess is all right here. So I get behind the mess. All right. So that was the, let's see. So, hey, Gilbert, can I chat with you really quickly about what do you mean? Because this was something I was going to bring up. I was going to bring up the words, it is what it is, in a minute. So tell me what you mean by amen equals so be it.
So the word amen, the actual meaning of amen is so be it.
Okay.
So to commit, to do it.
Oh, in other words, because I committed it, so it will be, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, I get that. Because one of the things, there's a couple of things that people say all the time. It's regular in humanity, not just in real estate. And some of you have probably taken a class from me where I've actually gotten pretty heated about it. Is I love when I'm having a discussion with people about something that they're disgruntled with in their life or that's not going well, and they go, well, it is what it is. Now, there's not one person on this call who hasn't said that, including me. And I disagree so much, and yet sometimes I'll hear it come out of my mouth and like, ugh, it isn't what it is what you make of it. All right. If I could help anybody do anything, it would be to eliminate the idea that anything is what it is. It is what you make it. Many of you have been on a call with my wife where she talked about human beings being meaning-making machines, that we're going to make up meanings about whatever it is that we're talking about, that we're making up meanings about everything that comes. And she basically says, if you're going to make up a story about something or a meaning about something, why wouldn't it be a happy ending if you're making it up? But that's not what we do. Habitually, what we do naturally is what's worse, is that what we do naturally is we make up a story that has a bad or sad or unhelpful ending to it. And like, if you're like, it's common in our house to look at each other and say, you making up a story about that? Why didn't it have a happy ending? Like, we're holding up mirrors for each other. Now, I tell people all the time, like, Casey's a financial genius. She took over our finances and our life changed. And people say, well, you married a girl who would do that. And I said, then hire one. You don't have to marry one. Hire somebody who does that, if that's the weakness in your life. But if we're committing to it is what it is, that means everything's just going to stay the way it freaking is. And that's not freaking helpful. And I would say the other word if I dared, not freaking, the other F word. Because look, it is what it is the same as everything happens for a reason. Okay, great. Now we get to define what the reason is. And we even usually make up a story about what the reason is. If you take on a saying like, everything happens for a divine reason, now you're kind of tempted, because now there's no, how can you call divine negative? So I choose to say everything happens for a divine reason, which means no matter how horrible it felt in the moment, that there's a miracle down the road as a result of that. This is what happens. And the reason you need to examine it now, and I need to examine it now in day 21, because day 42 is not going to be any different unless you do. Okay. And what's 21 more? Day 63, and so on and so forth. And of course, I shouldn't say I can't. I'm not going to do every Friday coaching call about habits and demons. I can say this though, I knew this is what I wanted to talk about. And then, silly story, but my sister-in-law, Casey's sister, always sends us to our home when she's going to come and visit us, she sends this amazing granola that is grain-free and gluten-free. And she says, eat it all you want. I just want there to be some when I get there and everything. And I started every once in a while eating some of that granola, grain-free, gluten-free, with oat milk in the morning. Kind of like one of the things I miss the most from my childhood is Cocoa Puffs and Trix and milk in the morning, cereal. And we know those are not healthy for you. So these are grain-free and gluten-free and have some protein in them. So every once in a while, I'll treat myself to a bowl of this granola with some oat milk and, and so I finally said, enough, I'm going to order my own from this company. And turns out that her husband is a NFL player, former NFL player. And anyway, and she's got all these followers. And I read the story, and I've been reaching out to her. I sent her three emails saying, I'd love for you to be a guest on my Friday morning coaching call. Haven't heard back from her. I hope to by the time. And I thought, gosh, if she comes on, I won't be able to talk about this. And next time we have a call, it'll be too late. What happened there? I wanted her to come on the call and have her be the guest speaker, but I wouldn't have gotten to this. And I could say it is what it is. Everything happens for a reason. Or I could say it's perfect. It's perfect because I get to talk about this, which is what I originally wanted to do. How many times does, excuse my language, but does shit happen in your life? It feels like shit that you don't stop and say, it's perfect. It's not shit. It's actually perfect. Because the decisions that I make as a result of this, can I find myself in gratitude? Can I have faith that this thing that happened right now that doesn't really feel all that good to me could lead to a miracle as a result of the lesson I learned by this happening this way? And that's just too much thinking in the middle of your busy day. It's like when I used to ask people their why, this is what I get. Why? You want to know why? I got to get up in the morning, get my workout in, go to work, make money, come home, help the kids with homework, help my wife with dinner, blah, 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 blah. Who's got time for a why? It's the same thing. When your day is going 1,000,000 miles an hour like it does, okay, then, you have to say, do I have time to stop and tell myself to be grateful in the moment for this thing that happened that doesn't feel good, and to have faith, grateful for that it happened, and have faith that it's leading me to something amazing? No, we usually don't have time. That's why the number one habit you could pick up is to stay outside of your behavioral style where all your comfort is, and continue to remind yourself that I want to put myself in the intersection of faith and gratitude at every minute in my life. And I have to watch my language. Even when I use the F word, Casey often says, Why are you using that word so much? Watch your language. Even though when she has something that happens, she was sitting on the bed working with the door closed because we both wanted to stay at the front of the house, but she had to close the door and she was in the bedroom. And I had my call on mute and I heard this F word super loud that broke through the door. All it was that she'd spilled some water on the bed. Right now, to me, the F word is a really good adjective, but it's what I'm saying is that your stuff's going to happen and you're going to know it. But I'm going to say that the language I'm asking you to look out about is not the F word or you're joking or anything like that. It's more about the mental, the self-talk that pushes you back into what we call your limiting beliefs. And a lot of people hear the word limiting beliefs and don't even know what it means, but it's putting yourself. So I used to say for years after dating Casey, I just be by myself working. I said, Rick, you're such an idiot. She goes, that's the kind of language, Rick, that just, it's the kind that will break you down. So now she thinks it's funny when I say, Rick, to myself. And what I'm saying is to myself now, I know after all these years of being worked on and coached and personal development is, Rick, take some time to ask yourself the questions you need so that you don't get to moments like this anymore. Because typically the Rick is rushing through a moment. I'll use that same thing if I'm visualizing a great golf shot, and I don't golf that much, but when I do, and then I hit it and I top the ball and it goes 6 inches from the tee. Or I'm doing a pool shot. I like to play pool. And I'll completely misalign the shot. And then when I'm not having to yell Rick like that, it's because I take a deep breath when I'm lining up my shot and take a deep breath, adjust, look at the shot, am I aligned, and then take the shot. Then I'm not yelling Rick as much anymore. Now, if I relate that to real estate, then I'm taking my time, I'm thinking through the problem, and then I'm acting. And that might take, seriously, 30 seconds more. And let me ask you, how many times have you had an issue in your life that if you took 30 seconds more or a minute more, you would have saved hours on the other end? Anybody? Yeah. So all of these relate to your natural behavioral style, however you're going to normally behave, and behaving differently than that is uncomfortable. And behaving differently than that is where all your miracles lie. All right. I'm naturally an avoider of conflict, an avoider of confrontation. I want to please everyone. I want to say yes to everyone. And those things have worked tremendously well for me in my life. And you ever heard this? Too much of a good thing. They've also been some of my most destructive forces in my life. Being too nice, saying yes to everybody. Excuse me. Write this down. Wait, do I have a piece of paper? I do. Hold on. Let me write this down. I can't see. I don't have a piece. Just write it down. Write the word yes. Oh, I'll put it in the chat. There we go. Do it like that. I just put it in the chat. Why didn't I think of that? I'm looking for a piece of paper and a pencil. Yes equals no. When you say yes to someone or something else, you're saying no to somebody, someone else, or something else. And that no is usually to you. And every time that I think now, I love what Cindy just put in there. The faster I go, the behinder I get. But when people ask me something, I used to always say, of course. Like that was not the thought out answer. That was the reactive answer. How many times are you doing that? Now I say, give me a minute. Okay. And do you know how hard it is to do that? Because people, in my opinion, get disappointed if you're not willing to say yes. And maybe it's true, maybe it's not. That's my opinion, not theirs. I'd love to, only I'm already committed. How's that? I'd love to, and I'm already committed. And that gravitated for the majority of the years when I was failing miserably. My real estate offices were losing money, like hemorrhaging money. Okay. My relationships were shattering. I was in the middle of a hairy divorce. I tried dating other people, that would blow up. I was probably 25 pounds heavier than I am right now. Nothing looked or felt right. But I kept saying yes to everybody and no to me. Just look. Sylvia and I have had a lot of talks. I'm just going to use this for an example. And when Sylvia finds issues in her life that are unpleasing or aren't taking her in the right direction, every time that her and I have talked, it's ended up being about where she never took enough time for her, to get her mind settled, to feel good about her, because she was so busy helping everyone else, her daughter, her life partner, her mother and father, everybody but Sylvia got the attention. She's extremely successful, sells tons of homes. From the outside, just like people used to say, Rick, I never knew you were broke. Yeah, I went on Facebook, told her, but hey, I'm broke. What? I never knew your 9 offices were failing. Yeah, that's what I tell people from the mountaintops. I suck, so do my offices. So we hide those things to ourselves. But the lady in Wisconsin, me, Sylvia, we all have those issues. And just because we tackled them once doesn't mean you're going to keep tackling them. They're going to show up again and again. Remember, habits never leave your body. You can say, oh, those are my old habits, they don't exist. Bull, they're there. The only thing that keeps them from raising their head up is your commitment to the habits that get you closer to what you want. But those other habits that don't get you where you want, some of them feel pretty good. I don't care what it is. And let's be honest, there's one of the worst habits in the world is the habit of needing to be right. That's an addiction, habit, addiction, whatever you want. Drinking, sex, playing something, like I'd rather go play than work. All of those things, and you have to find them. You know your demons. I know mine for sure. They've showed up enough in my life that I know every one of them by heart. So I would rather play than work anytime. Play what? Basketball, golf with my sons, sleep, take a nap, be in the ocean, whatever. But I like what breaking the ineffective habits has brought me. It's brought me more of what I want. Okay, so your homework assignment is that to by Monday have written down 5 things that don't work for getting me where I want, that I'm still doing in the first month of the year. And hopefully I'm looking out for it before the month ends, okay? And then I want you to write down 5 things that you've started to do differently. What are the 5 things that I've started to do differently that will bring me closer to my dream? So if you think about your contextual word, like Juie's is consistency, right? Mine is elevate. I think we had some other ones in here. Let me just look real quick. Did anyone else put their words in there? Could some of you put them in there for, execution? Good, Carla. Consistency, execution. Does anybody else have one? Transform. Good. When those are, sorry, Sylvia, I just saw your comment. When those are in writing, and then you can start to say, how am I applying my word of the year for it? If you did not pick a word for 2022, it's never too late. And remember, it's one word, and it's a word such that when you remember it in making your decisions, it will take you more in the direction of what you want. Does everybody get that? Okay, now a couple of other things. Most of us here are real estate agents or in the real estate industry. As I'm looking at the names, I think everybody here is a real estate agent. I don't see any lenders or mortgage people today. But here's the thing I want to ask you. I was talking to some people who have heard me beat the subject to death about how many times have you just gone in your phone and called people and said, March is coming and that will be 2 years from when we shut the world down. How have you been doing? Now, in early February of 2020, my wife was asked for her industry to go speak in Australia. And for our industry, we were supposed to be going to Cabo for a meeting about some stuff that had to do with the company I'm with. And we were both really looking forward to Cabo. And then the invitation to Australia came, and we're like, wow, they weren't going to pay her to go speak, but they were paying her airfare and hotel room. And I can pay for my own airfare and stay in the same hotel room. It was really good fun, you know. But what we didn't realize is COVID had already started over there. You know, they had already talked about the fact that the country of Australia was losing close to $1 million a day in tourism money already from China. And so we had a really early start on the effects of COVID, you know, when back in the United States, it was just conversations about why are so many people wearing masks on airplanes nowadays, you know. And but what we when we made that choice, you know, we made the choice because she was desperately sought after to speak. And obviously we always love traveling. The reason I bring up this story is my business doesn't stop when I was traveling with my wife at the time. You know, I'm a real estate agent. I've got to lead generate. And we had already started to feel the effects of back home in California. I was feeling the effects that the market was slowing down. There was news on, it wasn't just news about COVID, there was political news, there was all kinds of stuff. And guess what? All of that is in the interest of your success, white noise. It's just background noise that's distracting you from the task at hand. And why do I say this? I'm saying this because of this one very important reason, is that in anything that you want to accomplish in your life, certainly I want to sell more houses, make more money, and I want to make more money in less time. I would imagine all of you value your time. I talked to a lady the other day and I said, what if I could help you continue to sell as many homes as you are, but just help you reduce your hours by 15 hours a week? That's all I said. And she goes, holy crap, I would love that. She goes, my sales will not go down, but my hours a week worked will go down by 15 hours. I said, yep. I said, just a matter of delegating, understanding processes and systems. And that's the idea, right? So now as I've grown older and older in the real estate industry, but I've also made tons of freaking mistakes, tons. I can't even count. Yet every one, I stay grateful for the mistake and have faith that the mistake will lead me to something amazing. So now I know. So when Casey had to go to speaking rehearsal for the event while we were there in Australia, and I would make sure that I would allow the hours where people were up and around in California, that I would get at least 2 hours a day working on my real estate business. 1 hour of lead gen, 1 hour of working with all my agents on their deals and stuff like that, helping out. I remember while I was there, I did a free Friday coaching call. I had to get up at 3 a.m. to do it. And it was a blast because I just Casey goes, well, why don't you just announce you're not having one? I'm like, no. I get as much help out of those as they do. So anyway, but the reason I say that is Australia's a pretty good darn reason to not lead generate. There was a beach right outside the door. Okay. So this is the point. It's what is keeping us from doing the things that will bring us what we want. And we have these arguments in our head. Bet you every one of them has had it. But yeah, how often am I going to get a chance to jump in that ocean? I should just go jump in that ocean. You know what that is, ladies? Ladies and gentlemen, that's, oh no, I'm not allowed to say ladies and gentlemen anymore. I'm working on that. So all y'all, is that's scarcity thinking. That's and or. I can have this or I can have this. And I want to live my life in abundant thinking and say, and. I can make some time to generate some leads and get richer from that. And I will make some time to go in the ocean.
Hey, Rick, use
Yes.
beautiful people instead of all y'all.
Yeah, there you go. All you beautiful humans. Yeah, love it. Really, my son, who's a journalist, is all over me. I'm being much better. I'm calling people humans and people, and I'm not saying he, she, him, her, anything. It's all, yeah, I'm trying to be very generic about that. So apologies for the ladies and gentlemen, and I'll just use you beautiful people or all y'all, okay? All right, so that's my main lesson is there, that if we're thinking abundantly, I can have this and I can have this. And thank you, Andy, I plan on it. But I can have them both if I make that decision. And it isn't, well, I ran out of time. Bull, you changed your priorities. Again, watch your language and pick up where you're blaming the world or someone or something else for something you always had responsibility for. All right, I got to tell you guys, I learned so many great lessons from both Yellowstone and Ted Lasso. And I'm the guy who always says, don't watch freaking series. They suck you in. And my wife and I do things. We don't watch any series during the year. We watch one show every week. It's called Bull. And we like that show because it's about behavior. It's about behavioral analysis, jury analysis. That's it. And we usually don't watch it at the time it comes on. We watch it sometime late at night or over a weekend. But you know, over the holidays, everybody's, you guys got to watch Ted Lasso. So we binge watched Ted Lasso. I think we did all 2 seasons in like a week or something. And then we binge watched over 2 weeks, maybe all of Yellowstone, but they both had such amazing leadership lessons. This morning when we were getting up, I told my wife, hey, they're going to build a hotel down the street. You know, I saw it just got approved. And she said, what? And I go, yeah. She goes, they could have put condos there or something. And I go, I know. And she goes, I said, that's progress. And she goes, I'm the opposite of progress. I go, where did I hear that line? She goes, Yellowstone. So all I'm saying is this, is there's powerful lessons everywhere if you're looking for them. There's miracles everywhere if you're looking for them. And if you're not, they're just passing you. Someone else is picking them up. Life takes time, and it's time that makes life amazing. So what you have to start thinking about is, am I spending my time on the things that make the biggest difference for me? And yeah, this might sound like, oh, this was all about selfishness. No, it's actually all about selflessness, because the more time you spend having you be happy and working on you feeling amazing about you every day, because most of the shit comes from you not liking you not liking a particular habit that you have. So please, before our next call, get the list of 5s done. 5 things that I'm still hanging on to that aren't serving me. And by not serving me, I mean they're not getting you where you want to go. And 5 things you're working on that are getting you closer to where you want, and you want to have them be more present in your life every day. Okay? Notice no judgment words. No judgment words at all. No good, bad, right, or wrong. I suck, I don't suck. No, you're just working on being a bigger, better version of yourself every day.
Rick, say what you said again. Am I spending my time?
Am I spending my time on the things that help me get where I want to go? Remember, we're all really big about yelling from the rooftops. We're going to do this and do this year. I'm going to be amazing. And because in the moment it felt good. But when you're alone with you really, you know what we do? I do it. I know a bunch of you probably do it, is you go, what the hell were you thinking saying that in front of all those people? Now you got to do it. Right? Julie, you do that? Marlise, you do that? Because you two are the ones who laugh the most. Marlise goes, no, not me.
Now
So-
I said, no, sorry.
Go
I
ahead.
said now I typed consistency. Now I have to be consistent, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Make it more about how you feel about you when you're alone than how you feel about you when you're in a big crowd of people. That's where it counts. I always feel good in front of a room. Like, put me in front of a room to speak. I usually do it for free now. And you know, in the old days, I used to say that if I could get to a point in my life where when people asked me to speak, I would do it for free, that's when I knew I'd been successful for me. Okay, because now I can't even remember last time I got paid to speak. And it feels so good because I'm finally to a point where I have the time, the energy, the resources, the health, the happiness, the wellness to deliver because I want to, not because I have to. Right? But I'm 64, guys. Let's be honest. I'm older than almost everybody on here. And I can tell you that it's not about my age. It's about when I decided to get on the journey to put me first. 50 years old. 50 years old in 7 months. Okay, I was a few months off from my 51st birthday. That's when the journey began. And it's been the most disruptive, effed up sometimes journey that led me to the most amazing miracles. So soon as you are okay being uncomfortable a lot, then you'll start being okay with being happy a lot. All right. That's what we got for today. I'm going to give everybody a quick minute. Sylvia, thank you so much, honey. I know how busy you are. I appreciate you being on. Anybody else got a comment, thought, question, realization, aha, anything that you got for the next minute or two? Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys. Let me just see if there's anything in the. Yep, nothing in the that I missed, I think, in the good job, Gilbert. Okay, guys, well, have a wonderful, remember, we're first and third Fridays, not every Friday. So the first Friday of February, I believe, is the 4th. And that's where you will see me next, okay?
Thank you, Rick.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.